Okay. Good morning, everybody. So I hope that your last couple of weeks have gone really well. I'm curious on how last week went with writing down. Let's see. Last week we were, yeah, are you hungry, bored, tired, or lonely? That's a tough one, right? So I'm curious on how that went for you guys. Um, Checking in with your feelings. Did you happen to notice that you were trying to meet a non-food need with something other with food? Were you trying to meet your emotional needs with food? So type in the chat if you don't mind, if you want to hop on and let us know how it's been going for you. I know that can also be kind of intensely personal. So I know for me, with all of this that's going on, it's been really eye-opening. Every time I do this, it's like, oh yeah, I was trying to meet that need. So take that second and notice, why am I wanting this? Oh, I'm anxious. Why am I anxious? What am I worried about? And sometimes, like somebody told me, she can talk herself out of eating whatever that thing was. It's because she's not actually hungry. She's trying to meet an emotional need with food. But this week, we are week 6, I believe, and yeah, or week 7. I don't know. I'm kind of confused at this point. Anyway, this week our tip is to write it down, and the reason we're doing this later on is because it's really easy to get obsessive about stuff like this. And if we haven't dealt with the emotional side of stuff first, you're not going to be as in tune to things. You're not going to be paying attention to how you feel, and are you even hungry? Do I know what my hunger cues even are? You know, all those things. So if you just go straight into writing it down, it can foster a feeling of judgment, and the feelings of excitement and curiosity go away, and we want to retain those. So remember, in this whole habit changing course, everything here is about excitement and curiosity and I didn't know. Oh, I did notice. Okay, so like, what are you noticing? This isn't about judgment. So be empathetic with yourself. When you find that you tend to want to do a certain activity, or you craving carbs or whatever it is, have you noticed yet? It tends to be when you're feeling a certain way, or there's a cue or a trigger. And if you guys are really interested in habit, we get to this later, but this is a really fantastic book. If you haven't checked it out, it's called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, and we actually talk about it. I think I posted about it in the group a little later, but we actually talk about it on the Tuned and Strong podcast, and replacing those. You get a cue that sponsors an activity, and that activity gives you that reward, right? And so sometimes that food can give you that dopamine rush, that feeling of reward, or serotonin, or whatever neurotransmitter is being flooded your way. So this week we're talking about writing it down. So now that we're all in tune with our hunger cues, and we're in tune with we're eating undistracted, we're focused on, I do like the taste of these vegetables. Oh, I feel so much better when I drink this amount of water. I can't do this much water. Oh, I like this. And we're so much more in tune with ourselves and how we're feeling. Now we can start writing it down. And I'm going to show you the one. I put a link to this in the group. This is the book that I like most. And as you can see, I got it for $3, at TJ Maxx forever ago, and I still haven't even done half of it. But let me tell you why I like it. So it starts with a 5-day assessment. You've got 6-month goals. I mean, it's really a whole book here in the beginning. But okay, so it's got, today's goals. You're going to talk about, you've got focus areas. So in other words, like, what are we focusing on? So all these things that we've talked about so far, maybe you want to focus on eating undistracted. Maybe you want to focus on eating less sweets. Maybe you want to focus on more vegetables or more water, lean protein, fiber, etc. You're going to write down, if you're using this, you write down your mealtime, when you ate, how you felt before, what was your hunger level, what was it after, and then you do, for example, so you can see, why is this backwards? You can see, here we go. You can see how this looks. So you're writing down your emotions, your hunger rating, post-meal insights, how you feel. So say this person had breakfast at 7 a.m. What did you eat? This person they had a 20-ounce bottle of Coke at 7 a.m. Eating environment, in the car by yourself. Emotions, frenzied, running late, didn't want to go to work. Hunger rating, before was full, still full from last night. Okay. Post-meal insights. Shouldn't have had the extra pizza last night, wasn't hungry for breakfast, but I needed a cola buzz. Okay. So I like this because not only are you writing things down and we're not having to track calories or any of that, but you're really tuned in to how you're feeling around all of it. It really brings it home. How many times is this person eating alone? In the car alone, at the desk alone, at the desk alone, in front of the TV, right? So we're not paying attention. It just, no judgment there. But boy, does it just seeing it on paper sometimes is so helpful to being able to recognize patterns that you thought you were really in tune with and suddenly you're not, right? It's like, oh my gosh. So what are, of course, when I started doing this, where was I eating? I was on a road trip, so I was in the car, I was in the car. How did I feel? I was calm, I was tired, I was so tired. What was I reaching for? Sugar. Okay. So many different things. And you do a personal inventory for 5 days. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this, but I really like this. So take these thoughts, and if you want to make them your own, I think that's great to go for it. So what they're saying is after these 5 days, you write down when you ate, what you ate and how much, and what you drank and how much, what was the eating environment you were in, the emotions around it, your hunger rating, and your post-meal insights. Okay? So then you're going to convert your diary to trackable units, which you can get on with this. Basically, like, we've already been doing this, right? So fruit, veggies, stuff like that. Protein, fiber. I mean, whatever it is that you want to track, how many times did it just go through and like, how many times did I have that? It can be really eye-opening to go, wow, I didn't really have much fiber. Wow, I didn't. And at this point, if you're having a piece of fruit a day, you're getting fiber. It's okay, And then the not so healthy stuff tally: sweetened beverages, stuff like that. You got refined grains, trans fats, sweets, sodium, etc. Eating to overly full, and you're just skipping meals or whatever. I mean, if that's your thing, and this is just to bring awareness of, oh my gosh, I am. Oh, I didn't know I was doing that. So now you analyze those results, and you, based on your tallies, what are your strongest areas and where do you consistently exceed the ideal? The ideal meaning your ideal. And then it's like, which 3 healthy stuff categories do you need to improve most? In other words, where do you have the most minus marks? So it tells you what to write, like how to make your own goals on this. And this is how you make it really personal to you. Remember, there are no shoulds. I should have this much, or I shouldn't have that, or blah, blah. No. Your goals. So, and then it goes on and on and on and on about, this. This is done by dietitians, but it also comes with some like tidbits of information. So, let's see, fitness factoid, all kinds of stuff. So you can see, like, this is how you start to write it down. I really love this. You write down, let me show you one that I did a while back. Today's goal, I wrote no emotional eating, no overeating. Now this is a long time ago. For breakfast, I had a banana, a Power Crunch bar, and a Cuban coffee with skim milk. It hit both of my focus areas, and then I had like chicken soup, broccoli and Brussels sprouts. It hit all my focus areas. And then I had a snack at whatever time. I had cereal, milk, and protein powder. And dinner, M&M McFlurry, chocolate Oreo, 2 cheese sticks, and turkey. Did I hit all my goals? No. Does that mean the day was a failure? No. It's kind of funny going back and look at this. Success of the day. I kept in tune with my emotions. So it's really important when you're writing this down. It's not about judgment, guys. So important. Not about judgment. What is your success of the day? You're going to have a success. Whether it's, like there, I kept in tune with my emotions. I paid attention to, I didn't eat in front of the TV or whatever, right? Okay, so that's my thoughts for writing it down with that thing. I like it because it's my, my ENFJ brain is very much so, oh yeah, I want to be all organized and, do this. Really like it. So, getting into today's post, if you've not read this week's blog post, it's Hamster Wheel 8. It's going to be in the guides. I'll also put it in the chat down in the YouTube. So here's the post for today in case you haven't read it and you'd rather listen to it. So we're down to the last few tips and thinking about this. What small action do I have the hardest time doing? Writing it down. That was mine. That's why I picked this part of it. So I know you've probably heard this hundreds of times before, and that's great. You've probably heard all the other 7 tips as well. The point of change comes not by knowing what you need to do, but by doing it. The task here is to start a food journal. And it doesn't have to be this. It can be some paper. It can be a really pretty journal. It can be just a pad of paper. It doesn't matter. But the change comes not by knowing what you need to do, but by doing it. And sometimes seeing it in black and white is so helpful. So this week, I want you to write down every bit of food that goes into your mouth. What I find is most helpful is if I write down my mood/hunger level before and after I eat as well, which can help me tune into my hunger cues. To see if I'm really eating for hunger to satisfy another need like we talked about last week. So the simple task of taking the time to write down what you eat and take the few seconds to actually see it all on paper can bring huge amounts of awareness to your eating activity. Heck, this action alone has stopped me more than once from eating anything else just because I didn't want to have to write it down, to see it on paper. Because when you write something down, it becomes real. Have you ever noticed that? Like there's certain things in life you don't want to say out loud or write down because then you're faced with the reality of them. Sometimes we think that if the thoughts stay inside our heads, they never happened. So this is important. I want you to commit to having fanatical levels of integrity on this one. Commit to having fanatical levels in integrity on this. Why? Because when you start being honest with yourself in this one area, you can't help but have it spill over into other areas of your life as well. Do not cheat yourself. Do not lie to yourself. And it sounds silly. You're like, I was just going to write it down. What does it matter? Who's going to see it? That's the thing. It's so easy to do. It's so easy not to do. I'm like, I'm just going to skip this one. I'm just going to. No, ma'am. No, sir. Fanatical levels of integrity. Be honest with yourself. Don't lie and cheat yourself. If you can do that to you, if you're going to lie and cheat yourself, what does that say about other areas, right? No, you need to take care of yourself and be integritous, if that's a word, with yourself first. So, make this commitment to yourself that for at least the next 2 weeks, you will start writing down everything you eat and your mood and hunger level before and after. I also recommend, you don't have to be as crazy as this book, but I also recommend writing some goals for the day. Each day, like pick one, 2 tops, and make them goals, do goals, not do not goals. So in other words, I want to have a vegetable with every meal. That's my goal number 1. Number 2 is I will eat undistracted. That was my goal. Not I won't, crap, I already just lost it. I won't overeat. I mean, you can do that, but it's like, then we get into the negative stuff, right? So then also at the end of your food journal, what's your success of the day? This goes along with our gratitude journal last week. There's a success of every day. What is your success of the day? Okay? So you don't need to do this for the rest of your life. And I don't want this to become an obsessive habit. Boy, have I been there with that one. I'd even get anxious if I forget to write it down because I didn't have my notebook with me. I mean, it became obsessive. What you are doing is bringing awareness to your actions. If you've stalled for a while on your progress, go back to doing this and see what you find out. That's exactly where I am. I don't know about y'all. Let's see. There are several other methods. I know a lot of people like Fit Day, MyFitnessPal, Spark People, Fitbit, there's all these different kinds of things. I'm cool with those. Heck, whatever floats your boat. If you've got an app you want to use, if you want to journal it, if you paper, whatever works. I don't want you to get caught up in the trap of counting calories, though. Those sites tend to do that. If you can look at it objectively and go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. Because it's also easy to finagle things and be like, oh, well, I had the low fat creme brulee or whatever. Because once you see those, like a hamburger at a restaurant can have over 1,000 calories, and here we're thinking it's 200. So it's easy to mess with those. But I mean, I think the best thing to do is write it down objectively. Just notice it, because there's a reason. You know, if you're trying to lose fat, trying to lose weight, and you're putting things into these apps and messing with it, and you're not being having total integrity about it, it's just lying to yourself. It's not going to get anywhere. Then you get frustrated, right? So I like the idea of just writing it down without any kind of calorie totals. We can worry about calorie totals later. You can put them in an app later, or have someone do it for you. That's also not a bad idea, because sometimes just seeing objectively, dude, I ate 6,000 calories today. How did I do that? Don't beat yourself up about it, but I mean, like, if we're thinking I only had 1,200 calories, it turns out you had 6,000. Well, hey, now we know, right? So, yeah, so that's why I'm a fan of putting it on paper. Worry about the numbers later, or have someone else do it for you. Heck, give this notebook to someone you trust. Have them put the numbers into my, Fitbit or MyFitnessPal or any of those things. Have them put them in there for you, and don't look at them until the end of the week. That would be really interesting. I want someone to do that for me. So, yeah. So this simple activity solidifies your activities into reality and makes them become habits. Okay? So that's where we are today, and I hope that's really helpful. I know it's helpful for me just to go back and look over this. I'm going to start doing it now. So really excited about your progress. Really excited to have you on this journey. And yeah, write your comments in the group if you're so inclined, and I will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.